This is a story of a brother and a sister with supernatural powers. No, I am not talking about Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. Hello and welcome back to every recap ever. Today we are seeing a 2020 supernatural movie called Transference. Before moving ahead, don't forget to subscribe and like our video. We have come so far because of you guys.
Come on now, you guys!
A man named Joshua takes her sister to the emergency room. Apparently she tried to take her life. While sitting in the waiting area, he sees a woman beside him murmuring. Suddenly, everyone around him starts acting weird and starts taking their life. He quickly goes inside her sister's room to take her away. Her name is Emma, and apparently she has some mysterious supernatural powers. Few months later, a weird guy wearing a helmet kidnaps a local priest. He questions him about Joshua and Emma's whereabouts. However, the priest refuses to tell him. He took care of them after their parents' death, so he is basically like a father figure for them. So the helmet guy has no option but to unalive him. Few weeks goes by. Joshua comes to visit Emma in a locked room. She looks pale and very confused. Emma doesn't want to stay there as she feels claustrophobic. Joshua tries to comfort her, saying he will soon take her out. However, the voices in her head tell her that he is lying. She has a mental episode and lights start flickering around her. Doug, who is sitting next door, sees the flickering lights and quickly gives her an injection to calm down. After putting her to sleep, they close the door of her room. Doug tries to explain that her condition is getting worse. Apparently he knows a guy who deals with such rare cases, and he can probably help her. However, Josh can't risk people finding out about her powers. He is basically scared that officials will take her away from him to do experiments. He doesn't remember much about his past, but has faint memories of their father telling him to keep her safe. So Josh has some anger issues, and he finds various ways to get rid of his anger. He keeps getting random glimpses of the past, and it makes him even more frustrated that he can't remember things. One day, the helmet guy finally finds Josh at the state hospital. Apparently Doug works as an intern there, and he sees Josh giving money to Doug for Emma's medicines. Later that evening, in a laundromat, Josh gets approached by a beautiful girl. Her name is Amanda, and she is very much interested in Josh. However, Josh doesn't give her much response, and even behaves rudely. Few minutes later, he sees some men trying to mistreat her. Josh quickly goes to her rescue. However, the men beat him and corner him. He has a mental breakdown. It's as if his rage just explodes. The bad guys get scared of him, and the next second Josh wakes up in his RV van. He sees Amanda in his bed. Yeah, apparently they did some lovemaking the previous night. He sees Doug's message through a pager and abandons Amanda to go to Emma. Apparently Emma had an episode last night at the same time, and Doug somehow calmed her by increasing the dosage. Josh then goes inside to meet Emma. She is still sick of living like a trapped bird. However, she is more worried about Josh's mental health. She asks him if he is still doing those illegal fights. Josh lies to her, saying no. Later, he goes to these underground fights. Like I said previously, he has anger issues, and this is the only way for him to vent out the stored frustration. Later, while returning from the fight, the same helmet guy blocks Josh's way. Josh remembers him seeing at the fight. The guy then asks about Emma's hiding place. This triggers Josh's anger, and he starts attacking the guy. The next second, Josh then wakes up and sees the man has left. He quickly goes to their secret base and tells Doug about this incident. He suspects someone might have found their location. Josh has no option left but to try this doctor Doug was mentioning. He takes Emma's permission and calls the doctor. They meet at the nearby broken bridge. His name is Mason, and apparently he has worked with similar types of people in the past. Mason is well versed in the situation Emma is in right now, so Josh decides to give him a chance. They blindfold him and take him to their base. Mason then goes inside to meet Emma. She is still in that null state and feels a little uncomfortable around Mason. However, he reassures her that he is just there to help. He strikes up a very friendly conversation to make her comfortable. Meanwhile, Josh returns to his RV van and sees Amanda is still waiting for him. She asks about the picture of a girl she found in his RV, so Josh then tells her about his sister, but hides the part about her powers. Later that night, Amanda wakes up to see Josh leaving somewhere in the woods. She decides to follow him using a torch and stumbles upon an abandoned house. Meanwhile, Dr. Mason tells Emma about one of his patients. Apparently, he also had a similar condition, and Mason helped him control his powers. Though the guy left after he managed to control his powers, his whereabouts are still unknown. According to him, there has to be a trigger to activate her powers. However, she doesn't have any idea regarding this. I mean, for her the power triggers in a moment of rage or when her mental state gets unstable. Mason then hands her a ball and asks her to channel her powers to the ball whenever she feels anger. As he comes out of her room, Josh asks about his opinion. Mason feels she can control her powers. However, he is still able to find her trigger. On the other side, Amanda tries to find Josh everywhere, and stumbles upon a secret bunker door near the house. However, Josh comes in time and takes her back to the RV. The next day, Mason again tries to trigger her powers. He even shows aggressive behavior and tries to make her angry. He tells her about her brother's secret fights. He further tells her about Josh's new girlfriend and how he is living happily without her. He is basically trying to trigger her anger, but more than being angry, she gets scared of Mason. He gets so much into the character that he literally hits her. However, he realizes his mistake and says sorry to her. Meanwhile, Josh hears Emma's voice calling for his name and quickly comes to the base. He sees Emma and learns what Mason did. Josh loses control over his anger and blindfolds Mason. He beats him and throws him at the bridge. A few days later, Amanda goes to meet Emma at the state hospital. Basically, Josh lied to her saying she is undergoing treatment. However, Amanda doesn't find anyone named Emma there. This makes her suspicions even more stronger. Meanwhile, Emma is still thinking about Mason's words. She can't accept the fact that Josh hid such a big secret from her. Emma channels this anger in the ball and it starts floating. Amanda decides to check the underground bunker again. She goes down the bunker and sees the door where Emma is kept. She finally meets Emma, and let me tell you, she is not at all happy seeing her. She finally realizes that Josh has been lying to her. Meanwhile, Josh gets involved in another underground fight. He initially gets cornered by the opposing fighter, but gets up again as some type of aggressive emotion surges in him. Emma starts feeling Josh's anger emotions and her powers start manifesting. Amanda gets scared seeing her abnormal behavior. Doug comes into the bunker and tries to give her the dosage. However, she just holds him using her powers and throws him away. Meanwhile, Josh defeats the other fighter, but he gets challenged by the helmet guy. Josh gives his best during the fight, but the guy knocks him down. He finally removes his helmet and he turns out to be Mason.
What?
On the other side, Emma's power goes berserk and even breaks the bunker door. She then walks out of the bunker. Josh gets unconscious and memories of the past come flooding in. Apparently, Emma's powers went out of control because Josh and their car had an accident. He remembers his dad telling him that they are special kids. Apparently, their thoughts and emotions are connected. Josh finally realizes that he is the trigger for Emma's power. The more he gets angry, the more Emma's powers get out of control. Josh quickly wakes up and goes to the bunker. He tries to wake Amanda. She is very angry and about to call the cops. However, he stops her and finally tells her everything about Emma's powers. Meanwhile, Mason calls the cop to their bunker location. So the group searches for a while and manages to find Emma. She is very much angry with Josh and uses her powers to trap him inside a mental prison. Josh tells her about the past and even says sorry to her. He always thought she was the reason for their dad's death. However, the real reason was Josh and his emotions. He breaks from the mental prison and tries to calm Emma. Suddenly, the cops come and point guns at them. Josh tries to stop her from using her powers and accidentally gets shot by the officers. Emma couldn't see her brother dying and throws the officers away with her powers. Mason's plan finally seems to be working. However, Josh didn't get hurt. Apparently, Emma used her powers at the last second to stop the bullet. Mason just can't accept this and comes to unalive Josh. I mean, according to his plan, Josh must die to trigger Emma's powers. He planted the seeds of hatred for Amanda in Emma, so she unalives her later. Oh, and the guy he mentioned having powers was himself. However, his plan fails and Emma learns the truth. She uses her powers to control Mason. He thinks it won't work on him as he can just cancel it. However, her powers turn out to be stronger than his. She makes Mason shoot himself. The chapter finally comes to an end. Emma and Josh decide to abandon the bunker and live with Amanda. They put a fire to the place and take a step into their new life. Wait, it's not the end. Apparently, the cops find Mason still standing. He has stopped the bullet with his powers and made it alive. So there you have it, a recap of the movie called Transference. I hope you enjoyed the video. So why not show your support by dropping a like and subscribing to our channel? That's all for today and we'll meet in the next video.